Cuba, it's me, episode 111 of The W.I.L.L.I.W Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, today on the show, I wanted to talk about some of the silly characters over the years, ones that I actually kind of liked. Like, a character is not just a name. Like, some back in the WWF in the golden 90s or whatever, they used to have some really silly names for people. But I also liked when it was a character too, but I guess sometimes it's just a name. It's just, as long as their name was not like their name. As long as it had something stupid and silly. They had a lot of misses. They had a lot of really corny ones, but some of the corny ones I couldn't help but like. And so let's do this. Here's 10 silly characters that I liked. The first one was the hockey player guy, the Goon. Okay, and you have to remember, I was really young during this era and whatnot. And I came from a small town. I only knew about sports and whatever I was taught in school. And so some of the things in life I learned from wrestling. So anyway, the hockey player guy, the Goon, I just remember I was like, whoa, his boots actually looked like skates. And I thought it was so clever that his finishing move was a hit from behind into the apron, and he didn't even usually try and get the pin. And I actually thought it was gonna get some steam behind that character. I remember I was probably like 13, and I was at my grandma's, and she did not like wrestling, but I begged her. I was like, please, I don't get it at home very often, like once in a while, please just let me watch it. So she let me, and just so happened, and she did not like wrestling, I probably mentioned that, and it just so happened that the Goon match was on, and she's like, see, this is the stupidest thing, and she was going off and getting so mad, but I was like, no, it's awesome. It's a hockey player that wrestles, and I'm like, you always see the hockey players fight, they're good fighters, like, I don't know, maybe I only liked it because I was trying to defend wrestling to my grandma, so maybe that's why I was making it seem better than it was, but I was actually kind of disappointed after he had a few matches that he was no more. The next one is Adam Bomb. Now, if you've seen the W.I.L.L.I.W show before, you will see I made like a whole magazine about wrestling back in like 1994, and Adam Bomb was on the cover, and I had an article saying why Adam Bomb should be next champ. I really loved the colors of his outfit, and before that I had never seen anyone wear contacts that I knew of, so I thought his eyes were so cool. It was all about the look for me, Adam Bomb, and like they had some clever names for like his finishers and whatnot. I don't know why. Like, I don't think he was that great of a wrestler. The pump handle thing was not that great of a finisher. But I think it was just his look, and I was just like, wow, amazing. It's just like in rap. When I was a teenager, it didn't really matter what they say. Sometimes I liked them just because of their voice. Whether they could rap on beat or off beat or make good rhymes or be clever. So I think that was the case too. I think he just looked like, wow, somebody when he came out. The next one is the Undertaker, and I know he shouldn't be like on the list of corny characters, but I mean, when I was a kid and Undertaker came out and I was 8 years old, I was like actually terrified of the Undertaker. I had nightmares of me like running away from him and him slowly stalking me. And like I had these posters in my room of Undertaker because I loved him, but I was scared of him. So like some kids I guess are into horror movies, that was like my horror movie. Like I had to take the posters down. That's how scared I got. And eventually I put them back up, but it was a couple years. But the Undertaker, I like actually believed he was a dead person. I bought in fully on the Undertaker. The next one, a lot of people may laugh at, but like, because I like the Undertaker so much, when Papa Shango came out, I was like, yes, another Undertaker, and he had this smoking thing, and he was creepy, and like I had not really heard that much about voodoo, and like as a kid, I liked the Ultimate Warrior Papa Shango stuff, like I loved it. I loved all the magic spells and stuff like that, and I felt, I don't know so much now, I'll have to go back and watch the matches, but when I was a kid, I was like, wow, this guy plays his character so well, because I was getting old enough to know that, hey, maybe they turned it on a little bit for the cameras. The next character that was so stupid that I liked was Mike Awesome. I loved him in ECW, and then they brought him to WCW and they made him like that hippie 70s ladies guy or whatever. And I liked it so much. I think because I just liked him so much that I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna go with it. And it was so stupid, but he actually looked the part. I actually really liked that, and I felt like they should have gave him a run with it. Like I don't know, I for some reason I love this hippie 70 Mike Awesome guy. And then the next one would be the Berserker. Um, I don't know why. I think just because of his sword, and then he actually tried to use it in some of the matches, and even though he just walked around and went huss huss, at least he committed to it. I don't. I was a kid. Like I don't know what. I think like he looked the part and just being all brown and the big long hairs. I like the Berserker. Like a lot of people like Papa Shango and the Berserker and all these bad guys because I liked Undertaker when he was a bad guy. So like I was a different kind of fan. I wasn't always just like Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior. I loved Jake the Snake even when he was bad. So I like some of the bad guys. So then like Undertaker was good, and then some of the bad guys like the Berserker and Papa Shango would come in, and I'd love them. So I'd also feel sad whenever they had to face the Undertaker because I obviously would cheer for Undertaker, but like I was like, oh no, now I have to pick Undertaker over them. So like I would love them until they had to fight the Undertaker. The next one was Skinner. Again, kind of like the Berserker. I don't know why I liked it. I loved his music. I love that he had the chewing tobacco and stuff like that. And like he had that one match with Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title, and I loved that match when I was a kid. I watched that over and over so many times, and I don't know. I can't tell you what it was. I think I'd have to go back in time to really like tell you what attracted me to these characters, but I liked them. The next one I was a little bit older for, but it's so stupid, but I like it. I remember I had the cameraman and I interviewed him on the show, and he was like, someone should have a split personality. Well, remember Festus, where he'd be all dumb and then the bell rang and then he would go crazy and he'd be like a killer in there, and then the bell would ring again and he'd be like really not smart anymore. I like that. I know it's so cheesy, but it was original. Like it was kind of cool. Like someone should do that, but like something similar, but in something for the current nowadays times. But that was a really smart idea. Maybe it didn't translate well to the TV screen, but I liked it. I really did. And another character that I don't even think it was a character. This is what I was talking about at the beginning. Is remember the wrestler who? I think just because Bobby Heenan would get Gorilla Monsoon going so much, like it wasn't even really a character. I believe it was Jim Neidhart that played it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he had like the yellow mask and everything, and it was like coming to the ring, who? And then Heenan would be like, or who's in the ring? And he would be like, who? He's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's in the ring? And he's like, no, who? And like, just so stupid. Like, who came up with that one? That was really bad, but I loved it. Like, I took like, cause not a lot of my friends when I was in elementary school liked wrestling. So if I heard a good joke, like all my material for jokes was quoting Bobby Heenan. That's what I would do in school, and then sometimes they'd be like, oh, that's so funny. Like, how'd you come up with it? And I didn't usually take credit. I would say, oh, I seen it on wrestling because I was trying to get my friends into wrestling. But like all the jokes I knew were from Bobby Heenan, and like I would use them through. And wrestling helped me a lot. So the last, I believe that's 9. Goon, Adam Bomb, Undertaker, Papa Shango, yeah. So the last one was Max Moon. I don't know why. I think I just love the suit. I think. And like I was always hoping for like some kind of mask guy, and then he came out and like shot like fireworks or something to the ceiling. And when he first came out, I was like, oh wow. And then like they didn't do anything with him, and I just remember he was in that one Royal Rumble, and he had a couple like jobber matches and whatever, and I loved him based solely on his look, a little bit of the entrance. And then I was really sad when I didn't see him any longer. So those are 10 characters. I mean, obviously everyone loves Undertaker, but I guess the other 9 would be like characters that I actually like that a lot of people didn't like. But who cares what other people say? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I just know like from reading, a lot of people say, oh, these guys are so corny, so cheesy. But sometimes I like that stuff. It's like at Adam Sandler movies. It's a lot of like farting jokes and stuff like that, but sometimes I'm in the mood for that stuff. This is episode 111 of The Willow Show. Remember, like, or you get a leg drop, comment, or you get a clothesline, subscribe, or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba.